Looks like we're in the game.
Okay, perfect.
Why don't you go
Shall we?
over the Empire? It's going to be Empire versus Greenskins. Greenskins is Diplomat, and the Empire is
Harren.
Harren.
Okay. Uh, we have two Demigryph Knights. Wow, big surprise! Big surprise there. Now, Demigryph Knights are going to be essential for any Empire army. We have a line of Spearmen. I believe it's only two of them actually, and the rest is going to be five great swords. It looks like yes, five great swords. Three, four. I just didn't zoom out enough. Five spearmen, five great swords. We have Karl Franz on Deathclaw, I'm sure, and wow, two spellcasters. Is that it? Are those two light wizards?
No, those are two Witch Hunters.
Two witch hunters. Okay.
So for the Greenskins, Diplomat, we see two divers. Looks like this is the first time we see artillery in the tournament.
Shame on Diplomat.
So we have two Doom Diver catapults. We see some Orc, Boar, Boy, Biguns on each flank. We see, of course, Goblin Spearmen. Black Orcs. Black Orcs, very strong. They can actually defeat the Great Swords one-on-one. So that is very good that Diplomat took them. Some more Savage Orcs, some Orc Biguns, these names. Some more Savage Orcs, Black Orc, and another Savage Orc. Looks like the game has to end, of course, in the back. Some sneaky Goblin Wolf Riders.
Sneaky. Yep, Goblin Wolf Riders.
Imagine if they take
really
out both Witch Hunters.
I really like the fact that Diplomat brought some Black Orcs because that's something that I usually find missing from my Greenskin army is their just overall sturdiness. Black Orcs I feel are very very sturdy. I mean you pay a high price for that sturdiness, but they you know usually they make themselves worth the price.
And this is some good targeting from Diplomat. He is not targeting the Spearmen, he's not trying to target the Demigryph Knights or the General, because Doom Divers are not going to do any damage against those units, but he's straight going for the unit that he needs to kill, these Great
Yep.
Swords.
Yep. Great Sword's very strong and will wreck most of the greenskin melee infantry except, of course, the Black Orcs. Will trade very, very effectively. And the thing is, when you have a very cost-effective infantry unit in the Spearmen, the strength of the Greatsword is that much more amplified because you can rely on the Greatswords to deal a bunch of damage, but you can also rely on the Spearmen to knock her out, in an instant, basically.
Yes. Also, I forgot to mention that the General the Diplomat is fielding looks like it's Azak the Slaughterer. It's a very nice choice as he can Spirit Leech the General from Harren. But of course you have these Witch Hunters that can easily zone him out. You don't want to get Azak accused by the Witch Hunter. That would be very
God,
bad.
double accuse, rip.
Yeah.
That would be pretty deadly. But like you said earlier, before I very rudely cut you off, the Goblin Wolf Riders can be pretty useful in dealing with the Witch Hunters. Just to at least even just charge them in melee and tie them down for a little bit while Azak does his stuff.
Yeah, or just sneaky back charges while it's fighting against melee troops from Diplomat.
Yeah.
Because this game is not really about killing. What basically happens is that you break the enemy's morale. Usually there are not a lot of kills in battles. Looks like we have a Fate of Bungia casted on the Demigryph Knights.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of the spell. Yeah.
Fate of Buna,
Yeah,
is how it's
yeah.
pronounced.
And that is of course going to do a lot of damage against the Demigryph Knights. Definitely a good move. It's going to take them down by half, which is of course
Excellent move,
insane. Demigryph Knights, probably the strongest unit.
Even when there are only two Demigryph Knights, you still need to be very afraid of them.
Yes. It looks like Diplomat is going to stay defensive. He's just going to make the most out of his Doom Divers. Of course, that's something we all would do, right? If we invest 1,600 in artillery.
And,
Oh my god,
Harren
look at the
moving to
damage on the Demigryph Knights.
Ooh, wow, that's one way to deal with them. Oh god.
Now, notice how not a single one of them died, but they're now going to die very fast because they do not have a lot of hit
One
point
charge
anymore.
and they're just gonna charge themselves to death, basically.
And a Spirit Leech on the General, which forces him away from the battlefield, which is also very nice.
Oh, smart play there from Diplomat. And it looks like the Savage Arts are going to charge in. The first charge against the Spearmen, and the Black Orcs actually going to be charging into Spearmen, and maybe the Goblins are going to charge into the Greatswords, which I don't. Oh, they're going to charge in initially, sap them of their charge, and then the Black Orcs are going to come in to help support. That's smart play from Diplomat. If that's what's going to happen.
He did miss a couple of charges, but on Spearman it doesn't really matter as his infantry is so much more superior. We have Demigryph Knights engaged actually against the Orc Boar Boy Biggins, and the charge was blocked by the Savage Orcs, so actually this Demigryph Knight is taking a lot more damage than it actually should have taken. And he's not using his greatswords right now either, he should really send them in. And the Demigryph Knights, of course, on the right flank are totally dealt with.
Witch Hunter creeping ever closer to Azag the Slaughterer, which is going to be a bit of a concern. He needs to keep an eye on those Witch Hunters. But meanwhile, Karl Franz charging in, landing on top of the Black Orcs. No, Savage Orcs here. That's a good...
Yeah, that is definitely going to break these Savage Orcs. It's going to open basically a gap in the center, which he can then exploit to attack other units in the back.
Wolf Riders deciding whether to charge into the Witch Hunter or into the rear of the Spearman. That is going to be a conundrum which I can truly appreciate, because the Witch Hunter is very close to Azag, so they decide to charge into the Witch Hunter and just tie the Witch Hunter down while Azag tries to move in and really do some damage. He's done a lot of damage on Neferion.
Yes, he's definitely doing a lot of damage. So it looks like the general is going to get out there and is going to have a good amount of health left. But it looks like Diplomat is going to be able to overload both flanks and then just wrap around in the center.
This one greatsword is really, it's literally the only unit on Neferion's right flank that's holding his hopes of winning this game intact, because if he can manage to just destroy the greatswords, it will just start this whole chain of the Black Orcs rear charging each and every unit, and that's not going to be something that Neferion wants happening there.
Definitely not. And it looks like the Goblin Wolf Riders actually doing a very nice job against the Witch Hunter, even though they only cost 300. I guess it's because, of course, the Witch Hunter is a duelist, and we have a lot of units free for Diplomat.
And look at Karl Franz. He's almost dead. One more spell from Azag, and he's just about close, I think.
I'm sure that Karl Franz still has a role to play in this game. He might just turn it around. We see routing units for the Greenskins. Of course.
We see a full-strength goblin hiding out in the forest with nothing to do. They could actually be pretty useful because they can just hold off a unit for a couple more seconds while he maneuvers more important units elsewhere. The Black Orcs coming in for a flank charge, kind of hitting the Greatswords in the rear a little bit. Not the best charge, but should be able to do the trick, I think. But we see Greatswords here, a full-strength one that's about to charge into the rear of these Savage Orcs, and that's going to be the end of the Savage Orcs there.
Fortunately, yeah, and the Witch Hunter, he is getting some collateral headshots, man. The damage he's doing to the Black Orcs is insane. He needs to shut them down as quickly as possible.
That's the thing. Even with the Wolf Riders holding them down for so long, Azag still couldn't kill off Karl Franz, and that's purely because Karl Franz is super strong. But he needs to get one more Spirit Leech or something and just try and kill off the enemy general. That's going to be the easiest way for him to win the match.
That is definitely true. We have the Doom Divers that shot into the Greatswords in the back. Definitely did a lot of damage there. They're gonna get rear charged now. There's no way they're gonna cut through these Black Orcs from the front. But it looks like slowly but surely. I can't really tell who is going to win. We still have Azag, who is moving very close.
Definitely think
towards Karl Franz
on the winning side.
He still has his artillery, which can do a lot of damage, and I think this is going to be the final blow. Yes, looks like this is going to be the end of Karl Franz.
Yep, there we go.
That Spirit Leech takes him.
Ooh, he just leeched that HP. Franz rip. He's gone.
Hashtag rip Karl Franz. But it looks like as we have Spearmen over here, and of course the morale of the Spearmen is not great, especially not when the general is about to die.
Diplomat can't get too comfy with Azag. The Witch Hunter's right there.
Yeah, he's probably gonna get accused over here.
But it doesn't really matter now because Karl Franz is confirmed dead.
Karl Franz is
He's
dead
in.
indeed.
He
Even the
isn't
great
pulling some
swords.
box.
Even the
Legit
great
dead.
swords will round. He's gonna tie them down, land in the rear with his general. Still have the artillery shooting, and of course the witch hunter. You can see that their leadership is dropping quite rapidly.
I really like this play from Diplomat. Very, very smart. You know, it's tough to use your general so I don't really know how to say this. Defensive but effective. You know, he kept him behind the lines. Very tempting to just charge in with that massive dragon, but he
GG.
didn't. GG, very well played.
Nice play by Harren. He definitely made sure with his witch hunters that Azek couldn't land in the rear of the great swords or anything. But in the end, he wasn't able to accuse him. And I guess if you
Yep.
bring two witch hunters, that is of course the plan, to just kill enemy general.
Look, the tactics from Diplomat were perfect for this matchup because he brought two Goblin Wolf Riders that he knew he just needed to use solely to tie down the Witch Hunters. He did that perfectly, and once the Witch Hunters were tied down, the very purpose of this Empire build was gone because the purpose of this Empire build was to let the Witch Hunters snipe the enemy Greenskin General. And with them being tied down like that, it left Karl Franz very susceptible to Azak.
Yes, GG's. That was a very nice game.